These are the first verses that were revealed of the Quran. Read, in the name of your Lord who created man from something which clings. Read, and your Lord is most gracious. It is he who taught by the pen, taught man that which he did not know.
This verse is a very significant one in that it actually goes into the depths of human life. It speaks about a fertilized egg, a zygote, which clings from the inside of the uterus. Now how, 1400 years ago, could a person have known about what goes on inside of the human body? But this is only one of the miracles that we find in the Quran.
The whole natural world in the Quran is called a revelation, literally. It's a revelation. So scientific pursuit is actually unveiling the meanings of a revelation from God to humankind.
Hamza Yusuf is an American-born teacher and student of Islam.
In the Islamic tradition, knowledge is the birthright of the human being. That every human being is endowed with not only the desire, but the right to seek knowledge.
Pre-Islamically, women, of course, were considered to be subhuman, and not only in pagan pre-Islamic Arabia, but also in prior revelation, women were given a much lesser role than a man. But as we know, God has created man and woman equal. We are equal in the eyes of God in faith and knowledge, and that has been told to us in the Quran by Allah.
Nancy Ali was once a Roman Catholic nun. After coming to Islam, she's played an active role in sharing its teachings with others.
So women still have that freedom to go to the hilt with whatever she wants to pursue it in the field of education, as long as it's, of course, a field with dignity, and share her knowledge with the rest of the world, just side by side with a Muslim male.
What I do is train teachers, is have them rethink their whole notion of what European history is, and rethink their whole notion of what this European Renaissance was about. That rational thought, whatever the mind can think of intellectually, scientifically, was never seen to be the enemy of Islam.
Audrey Shabazz is the executive director of AWARE, Arab World and Islamic Resources.
We now are learning that Latin Christians in the rest of Europe also sent their sons, we don't have any evidence that they sent their daughters, to the great universities in Cordoba, knowing that the first thing that these youngsters would have to do would be to become fluent in Arabic, sort of take the equivalent of ESL classes, so that then they could take the whole range of academic things that were offered to them in every field. And there were no universities in the rest of Europe at the time.
The great contributions made in areas such as medicine, optics, science, algebra, geometry, there's so much of that, a good deal of which is still forgotten. And even when it's remembered, the tendency is to simply speak of it very briefly and very quickly.
Dr. John Esposito is professor of religion and international affairs at Georgetown University and the author of many books on Islam. He's also the director of the Center for Muslim-Christian Understanding.
Islam's flourishing occurred during the Dark Ages, and then when, as it were, Western culture bounced back, it borrowed and reborrowed from the Muslim world. On the other hand, there's almost a need to forget about that. You know, one doesn't like to feel that one's culture is totally dependent upon the other. And then given the historical confrontations at different times between the Muslim world and the West, there is even less cause to want to see what one borrowed as opposed to seeing the otherness, you know, the tendency to almost want to demonize the other.